Imagine suddenly your loved ones, your son, your father, your brother, or for that matter, any female member of your family disappears. No trace. You look around, you go to the police, you go to the law enforcement agencies, but no news. And this continues. Imagine the plight of that family. Imagine the plight of that wife, plight of that mother, and plight of that child who has lost their loved ones all of a sudden. That is the story of missing person or forced disappearances recognized by the United Nations and the United Nations Human Rights Commissions. The phenomenon of making people disappear from the earth and sometime never to return is very prevalent all over the world. It started, actually, the systematically started by the night and fog decree by no other than Adolf Hitler on 7th December 1941, when systematically German Nazis started making people in their occupied territories disappear. So the four main component of this phenomenon of enforced disappearances to arrest, abduct, or take away somebody's liberty and take people away, and then not to let the families know where these people are, and whether it is the government or the government acquiescence to this phenomenon. That is the third. And finally, the fourth component is that these people do not have any recourse to justice. Pakistan, amongst many other countries, is suffering from the same phenomenon, especially in the Balochistan province of Pakistan, which is the largest province of Pakistan area-wise, with a huge capacity for development and the reservoir of the minerals, and some say even gold and oil. There have been thousands of people who have disappeared since 1970s, but more so after 9/11, the war on terror in General Pervez Musharraf, who was a dictator at the time for about 12, 13 years, and his time. We have seen ebbs and flows, and a lot of people have complained about it nationally and internationally, but still this plight of these disappeared people continues. We have started this program on missing persons, where we will ask senior journalists, thinkers, and opinion makers, and then probably people from the law enforcement agencies and the government to come and discuss this thing openly in a very structured and analytic manner, so Pakistan progresses and these accusatory fingers which are raised against the law enforcement agency and Pakistan Army and ISI, they are silenced. We want all Pakistani patriots to come and join us and give their opinion, so we could restore the pride of Pakistan and the Pakistani army and establishment, and at the same time we bring justice to these people who have disappeared suddenly. Today in my program I have some of the brightest journalist star, Raza Rumi, who is a journalist from New York of Pakistani origin, and Zahid Kishkori, who is a senior journalist in Pakistan, and both of them actually have a huge contribution to this cause. We have also invited Dr. Mahring Baloch, who is leading the protests from Baluchistan province, and she has come into Islamabad with a huge number of women, and most of them lost their loved ones in this missing persons phenomenon. Raza, thank you very much for joining us today. And obviously this issue, missing persons or enforced disappearances, is really plaguing Pakistan for a long time, as it is to the rest of the world. And I was wondering that, if you have any latest figure from the latest commission that has been formed by the government, the total number of disappeared people or missing person, as it is called.
Thank you, Dr. Saab, for inviting me. The numbers vary actually because there is a commission that was formed by the government, and that has a particular number which it gives, which is not accepted uh, by the activists and the political groups who have been complaining for the about the missing persons. Now, it is said that around 5,000 people in Balochistan are missing. This is what the Baloch activists and the Baloch political groups say, and they have been sort of arguing and pressurizing the government and recoursing to courts of law so that this issue can be handled and addressed. The commission which was established by the government, it's called the Enforced Disappearances Commission, and they say, I mean, they have claimed that they received 7,000 cases of enforced disappearances since their inception, which was many years ago, actually. But many of the complaints they claim are not valid, and they give a much lower number of a few hundred. Now, obviously, this is a contested issue, but regardless, Dr. Saab, the issue here is not the numbers per se. Even if there's one missing person in a constitutional democracy, in a country that is ostensibly ruled by a constitution guaranteeing citizenship and basic rights, that's an affront to rule of law. So it doesn't matter if there's 700 or 7,000 or 70,000. The basic constitutional guarantees are being violated in Pakistan with impunity, unfortunately. And it's not just the Baloch missing persons. You see, there are missing persons in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There are missing persons in Gilgit Baltistan. There are missing persons even in the Punjab, in south of Punjab. There are missing persons with the Shia groups and communities where young activists have gone missing. And I, as an editor, have published many stories by reporters and by their loved ones, which have been calling for some justice. So I think it's a very, very serious issue that calls into question the way Pakistan is governed and the way Pakistan's laws are implemented or not in this case.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it is going on for some time, and we know that it's quite prevalent all over the world. We Pakistani believe, being a patriotic Pakistanis, that our government and our law enforcement agencies are primarily Muslims, and we have the fundamental human rights enshrined within our religion and within, obviously, our constitution. But such extreme numbers, and not only that, along with that comes that a lot of people are found killed, tortured, maimed, dead, and or even injured when when they are found. So this is quite inhuman. So I was just wondering, what kind of a psychological mind, forget about the political mind, is running behind this phenomenon?
Well, our mind is very clear. It is kind of a brutal crackdown. You see, what has happened is that since General Musharraf's tenure towards the last years, when his government exercised high-handed tactics towards Baloch political groups, culminating in the murder of Akbar Bugti, who was ironically a pro-Pakistan leader who had been part of many Pakistani governments, who was a proponent of a federal structure, obviously wanted improvements, and there a new wave of insurgency started in the province. So that's now it's around more or less 2 decades ago, and since then the state's attitude has been really, really brutal. Want to basically crack down on any calls for separatism or even resistance to what the Baloch political groups, especially the separatist groups, call the occupation by Pakistan, quote unquote. And so this the political governments have tried. They have announced packages like putting in extra money, development schemes, employment education schemes. Those measures have been half-hearted because there's another Balochistan province of Pakistan which is of corruption. So a lot of money that goes to Balochistan, ostensibly in billions of every year from federal taxes and through other measures, is actually appropriated and misused by the local ruling elites, which are generally pro-Islamabad rulers and the bureaucracy, which, like the rest of Pakistan, but in Balochistan, it's even worse, faces zero or no accountability. So, resultantly, people become more and more isolated. They become more and more distant. They become more and more angry with the way things work in Pakistan. And so, the state repression has gone untrammeled and uninterrupted, leading to this situation where you have thousands and thousands of families looking for their loved ones. And, it is unfortunately, informal reports suggest that many of the persons may not be alive anymore. But that's what their families say. Tell us where they are. At least tell us, at least give them some peace, some closure. And, even when the state says that 2,000 complaints, the commission, the Commission on Inquiry, the Commission of Inquiry on Enforced Disappearances, that's a formal name, they claim 2,000 cases are still unaddressed. It's a big number. It means about more than 2,000 families of a very small ethnic population in Pakistan.
Yeah, you are absolutely right that number really don't matter, although even a 2,000 complaints, that's a huge number in proportion to the rather smaller population of Balochistan. But I think you mentioned a number of groups, ethnic groups, who where the missing persons phenomenon started, and lots of people were disappeared. But perhaps you forgot Muhajirs from MQM and also from
Yes.
Hazara Hazara tribe. Similarly, a lot of people from Punjab and some say from Kashmir as well. So this is quite a widespread infection, so to say. Now, the question is this, that Pakistan is a signatory to the declaration in 1992 of United Nations to ensuring that the human rights and dignity for all arrestees. Now, is there any repercussion for Pakistan if this phenomenon continues at the international level?
Yes, I mean, there are, of course, as a special UN covenant enforced disappearances, and many complaints have gone to the United Human Rights Council, and many things have done where civil society and the Baloch groups have gone and so obviously this is something the government of Pakistan is sensitive to. But you know how the UN system also works. First of all, it's slow and takes ages for any work to happen. But secondly, also, the geostrategic importance of Pakistan, asked by the Americans and now for the Chinese, in short, this issue does not land the state of Pakistan great serious trouble. I mean, of course, Pakistan is questioned and international media highlights this, and that's what the Baloch groups have for, the current in Islamabad, who have marched for hundreds of kilometers right from south of Pakistan in southern Balochistan to Islamabad, and who have been treated and manhandled by the police. Police bait and charge. They are sitting there in freezing cold these days, and there were videos 2 days ago where they were even being denied blankets and food items. So, and this young woman, Baloch, is really a very effective advocate for this community, because she herself and her family, her father was killed, and many of her loved ones are in this situation that requires immediate attention. So this issue has now come right to doorstep of Islamabad, and the current caretaker government appears a bit clueless as to what to do with them, because how if they do too much repression, it's also being covered by media, by international media, and civil societies calling on the prime minister, on the military to resolve this issue rather than do another crackdown. And if they don't, then it's an ongoing sort of a shame for Pakistani authorities that they let people go missing in a country which has police, which has paramilitary, which has military, which has courts. This is not a banana republic. This is not a country without a state. So obviously, what we are looking at is a state behavior. The problem, Dr. Suhail, is that Pakistani state time and again miscalculated that it is better to work with these people, to open dialogue with these groups which are disheartened, angry, hurt, and instead with more repression. Now, that doesn't solve anything. So, political dialogue is the urgent need of the hour. If Pakistani state can talk to the Taliban, if Americans can talk to the Taliban, in the previous government, they brought in TTP fighters to come and resettle in Pakistan. What's wrong with Baloch? They are Pakistanis. They are our Pakistani brothers and sisters. So, we have to find a political way forward. They can't just do a crackdown upon crackdown and kill young men or pick them up and take them to detention centers. They have to find a solution, a political solution which may entail more autonomy to Balochistan, which may entail a special status to Balochistan. Why not? Federations have to survive. So, I mean, that's my view of the situation thus far. And let's hope that, somebody takes it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Baluchi brothers actually they are at the forefront of the brunt of this war on terror. And you're right, after the 9/11 and the war on terror that started, and perhaps at the same time the separatist movement in Balochistan that also flared, and then since then we have had thousands of complaints all over. People, and then not only that, people from Punjab like Amna Janjoa,
Yeah.
and then Dr.
Yes.
Barang Baloch, who was supposed to join us today, and is in the forefront of this campaign. But what surprises me that the more actually disappearances, or the more media hype this issue gets, and the worse the atrocities become. The way the Pakistani government is treating the protesters from this Balochi background in Islamabad recently, and that is shameful to the least, one can say. So, what is the international community doing about it? Because Islamabad is full of the representation from all over the country, including the Human Rights Commission. Have they been able to go and meet these protesters in front of the parliament or not?
So, I mean, the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, it has been very vocal in upon the government to address this issue, not use force. Because at the moment, what the government has been is, you've been using force, as I mentioned earlier. And similarly, Amnesty, the Human Rights Watch, all the international group and blogs have called upon the government of Pakistan to change their tack. And so I think the other time, if you look at the typical narrative of Pakistani state, they consider foreign sponsored problem, and a lot of apologists for the government that Indian involvement is there because Pakistan has been supporting separatists in Khan in the Punjab. Pakistan has been supporting the Kashmiri separatists in the past, and this is India's payback. Now, this is their view. I think both India and Pakistan use foreign intervention, foreign interference as a excuse, as an excuse to carry out more repression, because then they change the nature of the problem from a citizenship, human rights, domestic political issue into an international conspiracy or a foreign conspiracy. It sells well with the mainland, it sells well with the government bureaucracy, with the army ranks. So partly, I mean, I'm not denying that it's not true, because I mean, it happens all the time, and the Baloch have some Baloch leaders have called upon other countries in the past to help them out with the arms, etc., etc., to carry out their struggle against Pakistan. But you see, the thing is, all of these things are not unresolvable. All of these things can be addressed, and that requires a very strict, strong, implementation of the current constitution of the land. So that is where the government is lacking, because at that time, the role of judiciary and the Supreme Court becomes really, really important. I'll give you ground under Iftikhar Chaudhry, who was the former Chief Justice of Pakistan, who was restored through a lawyers' movement in 2007, 2008. When he returned, earlier he had been calling the government and taking notice of the missing persons issue. And then once he came back into his office, he again tried to do that, but that time, his work or advocacy was not that strong, unfortunately. That is what we and
Okay.
always,
Raza,
yeah,
we're just joined by a very senior journalist from Pakistan, Mr. Zaid Gishkori, who will be joining us in a minute. And let us ask
very
him
nice.
that how. Mr. Zaid, thank you very much for joining us, and I apologize for this rather ungodly delay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, please.
Hi. We have Raza Rumi, that you probably know well, and we are talking about this missing person or enforced disappearances phenomenon. And Raza was telling us how this issue can be resolved, if not by the state of Pakistan, but probably by the Supreme Judiciary, and how Mr. Iftikhar Chaudhry, the former Chief Justice, actions were. Raza, would you like to continue, please, on that?
Yeah, so I was just saying that, if the Khai Chaudhry tried to take it up and then the Supreme Courts have been moved, this was formed on the inquiry on enforced disappearances, but unfortunately, no results have come out. I mean, some have been returned, but Balochistan, many are still missing. Yeah, let's hear Zahid now.
Right. Mr. Zahid, you can hear me now? Right. Okay. So I know that recently you have been focusing on this area quite a bit amongst many other area of the political activities that you're covering. And what is your intake on the treatment that Dr. Marang Baloch and other Balochi protesters received in the hands of Islamabad police?
First of all, I'm very grateful to you, and very good evening from Pakistan to
Thank
my
you.
mentor Raza Rumi Saab and other panelists as well. So it's simply painful. Being a Balochkin, I'm also know the ground realities in Balochistan. So it's condemnable, no doubt that even now police cases have been registered against these protesters. So it's a sort of an example, first of its kind example in the recent history that Baloch who came out uh, for the protest in the federal capital, and they are being treated by the police that women are being thrashed, and this is absolutely painful. And the more pain even is that for the first time in the center, the caretaker prime minister is from Balochistan, the chief justice of Pakistan also from Balochistan, and another supreme parliamentary office of Senate chairman in Pakistan is also from Balochistan, from Chagi. And these three important, vital, and perhaps, what can I say, all from Balochistan. They know ground realities and the miseries and the pains of families trying to find out and figure out their dear ones. I still can remember that in 2017 and 18, uh, and even in 20, I have been filing many stories on uh, dead bodies being recovered from Balochistan. Uh, I still remember that I filed a story with the title, which published in the News International and GeoTV, 1,000 bullet-ridden dead bodies recovered from Balochistan from 2014 to 2020. And after that, this story went to the upper house of the parliament for the discussion and open debate by the then Senator Karim, who passed away, unfortunately, and the then Chairman Senate, Mr. Uh, Raza Rabani. He stopped the debate on this motion moved by the Senator Karim and still spending with the parliament, the discussion and the resolutions. And after that, almost very rare journalists have a courage to report on this particular issue, because I know the ground reality uh, in Balochistan, being a Balochkin as well, from Dera Bukti, from Chagi, from, you can name many districts. And I'm known to scores and dozens of Baloch sitting abroad, young people in US. If you get the data from US, I think more than 5,000 Balochs are over there. Because I got data in 2014, I was over there. Around 11,000 Pakistanis were seeking asylum in US, and almost 45-46% were from Balochistan.
Obviously, this
So
situation
it's
is obviously this situation is really, really very painful, especially for you from Balochistan. And you're right that three of the most important positions in the Pakistan government are from Balochistan. And I remember that all of them probably, when they were not in this position of power, they were very critical of this missing persons phenomenon. So the question is what changes them that they assume the color of this oppression once they ascend to that level, whether it's a prime minister or chairman senate or the chief justice. So what information they have that changes a normal human being who will take pity, who will feel empathy for the pain of others, and all of a sudden they are on the other side of the fence. So what do you think? Because these all of these three people from Balochistan, they will have their relative, their friends. How would they feel accountable and answerable to them? Zahid?
Listen, ground realities are quite different in Balochistan, as I observed Indian media, the discussion at a broader level on issues of Balochistan in different parts of the world. Mostly uh, people who have been debating Balochistan issues, they don't know the ground realities. Unfortunately, it's true. I'm not claiming, but it's true. uh, Baloch demographics have been changed in the past 20 years, and population of Baloch declined, and the Pashtuns are dominating in the province, in 4 5 districts, and they are dominating. They have huge businesses, 80%, more than 80% business and major activities belong to Pashtuns, like Kila Abdullah, Kila Saifullah, and the bordering areas of Iran and Afghanistan, and Pashtun dominating, and Baloch, by virtue of whatever you say, you can say, but Sardars are also responsible for this. I can tell you, because 5 years some Sardars support the establishment, support the center, and they've been in the power and grab all the resource from Balochistan. They become the partner with the center and the other powerful in the country. And after that, whenever some resource stop, the government or the center stop giving them resources or shares, they stand against the government, and other five top sardars come closer to the center, and their turn start. And I can count many examples. Sometimes you see that Magasi tribe, Raisani tribe gets closer to the government and uh, suck up the resource. And sometimes Bhuktis and Zehris and Maris get closer to the center and they suck up the resource. And the division between the tribe as well. Now the Sarfaraz Bhukti, for example, is very close to the establishment. He is calling the shot, for example. Before this, it was Sadiq Sanjan, he was very close to the establishment. And sometime I can say, yes, few blows stand firm on their resolution, like Akhtar Mengal, like late Akbar Bukti. But now resource and division from generation to another generation divided, and they are not so powerful because uh, the population decline, Baloch become poor, they are not so financially rich. Their resources have been divided from generation to generation, the fifth generation now. So I don't see the resilience and the power which would remain with the Baloch, not even with the province. Because if you just study the parliament of Balochistan, that look at the ratio of Balochs over there in the parliament. And then in the center, I'm telling you, this is very unfortunate. The
Well,
Pakistan People's Party started once in 2008 a reconciliation with Baloch and Aghazi Hakook Balochistan package. And then General Nasser Janju, a Lieutenant General, played vital role to bring dissenting Balochs into the arena of national mainstream. You know, uh, last month even we have seen scores of Baloch. It was claimed otherwise. They surrendered.
yeah, yes, well, that's
They
it.
all were
About
poor laborers otherwise.
they are about
They all
70,
were
80
poor
people.
laborers otherwise.
Yeah. Zahid, you
The,
mentioned the demography is changing in Balochistan, and I'm not sure whether this is a natural forces of life or there is a deliberate attempt to minimize the effect or the population of Balochistan. But Balochi tribe or Balochi people is a very large ethnic group. With their Balochi people in Afghanistan and in Iran. And I know that there was a time, there was news that there was a greater Balochistan and carving a larger area and creating for another country. And obviously, we know that there's a movement of Azad Balochistan, which the Pakistani state and a lot of media people they claim that they are actually funded by foreign powers. So is there insurgency, so to say? Is that because the people of Balochistan do they want more rights, or do they want secession or a separate country?
look, we were talking about the demographies and ground realities. It's absolutely, there is no concept even. People are only discussing this, whatever they want to, they're free. But ground realities are quite different. I don't see that even in the near future or even the far future, there would be a separate country because uh, the border, the geographic situation with Iran and with the Afghanistan, uh, it's quite complicated. I never think so. I did not see anything on the ground. Yes, there is a poverty. This is the only reason that many Baloch, scores of Baloch, young people, they want their rights and they are joining these dissident or the rebels, uh, and mostly leading them, the Baloch or even the separatists or their leaders, they are sitting abroad. This is state poor control on this communication system is otherwise a harbor for the prescribed organization. 43% land the province is possessing. So overall, in the past 11 to 12 year, Pakistan military established uh, their communication system in the province. and fencing the border, uh, many cadet colleges and many things to engaging young Baloch to within the army as well in the center, and more than 5,000 Balochs got jobs, and through their narrative now they are engaging other uh, separatists as well. But this number is not so strong. I don't see that until, yes, there might be a sport, Kalboshin Yadev, he was also in Iran with the Baloch tribe, divided province uh, with Iran and Pakistan borders, and then some Baloch engaged him, and then he sneaked into Balochistan, and then he was caught. So, no doubt, neighbors could not be changed. Control is quite uh, loose of the state on two borders. And recently, after Kabul capture by Taliban, uh, it's a report of Pakistani authorities that around 0.4 million Afghan Taliban are there some sympathizers. They sneaked into Balochistan in different areas, and now they are one of the prime reasons of rising violence in the province, this report stated. And they all are Pashtun. They have their roots already. Sympathizer in Kila Abdullah, in Loralai, Pishin, uh, somehow in Kalat, in Chaman as well, in Chagi. So they have their sympathizers, and they are mingled up now here. And this is a state pain which is struggling against them. But uh, what is happening in Islamabad, the basic debate we started on this it has been in the past as well, but this is extremely painful that women came out. And in Baloch, the concept of women coming out of their homes and protesting on the road, this is historically a significant move, also giving a strong and louder message to the state that now things gone up. There is something not in their control. People are coming out. Many people are blaming their foreign funded and having backing from foreign countries. I'm really surprised that before setting their own house in order or to addressing problems of their own people, labeling an entire state to somebody who is just protesting.
Yeah. Yes,
So this is
Zahid, we contacted Dr. Maring Baloch and this morning, and she kindly promised to join us, but I think because there's a new case of anti-state and seditious case against her, and she couldn't come. And it's really painful as a patriotic Pakistani and as a human being. It is not a good sight. So Reza, we as you might have heard that from really the horse's mouth, and Zahid being from Balochistan and a very senior, a respected journalist who has firsthand seen all of these atrocities. Now that is a one paradigm. The other paradigm is that the Pakistan army is sacrificing its soldiers, its officers, even generals in Balochistan, and we cannot deny the sacrifices of the Pakistan army, which is considered to be one of the reasons of the solidarity of Pakistan, and we appreciate that. And then third dimension is the CPAC and the Belt and Road Initiative of China, and it is considered that the Balochistan is a key to success and progress of Pakistan. How do you reconcile these three factors? A, that there's a missing person phenomenon. B, that there is an insurgency and secession movement, and three, that there is a CPAC, and common sense will prevail and should prevail that there must be peace there.
No, absolutely. I think CPAC is also a big factor, Dr. Qureshi, because since the introduction of CPAC, there have been many complaints about the Baloch rights over land and their resources, especially on Gwadar port, local groups have been resisting that they have not been consulted properly. They are not going to get the fruits of development from the region. So there's all that. There's that fault line too. But as I mentioned earlier, and you rightly pointed to towards the sacrifices of the Pakistan military, their soldiers, their officers, etc. But I repeat that all of that is avoidable. It is avoidable if the state changes its direction and its policy of being brutal, handed to that of a reconciliatory, developmental, and pro-people state. Once you think that Baloch people have the right to live on their land, they need their political, economic, and social and cultural rights, then these things are possible to be addressed in a federalist. And if the federation needs to be changed through a constitutional amendment or other legal changes, all of that is doable, provided there's a will within the Pakistan military to start a process of dialogue, which to date is missing.
Thank you very much, Raza and Zahid, for your very thoughtful and very detailed analysis and the information that you provided to us and to our audience. Dr. Marang Baloch unfortunately could not join us, but I'm sure in our next program she will. We are conducting a series on this phenomenon of missing persons in Pakistan, only to restore the peaceful living and peaceful society in Pakistan, and especially in Balochistan. Missing person phenomenon has plagued Pakistan and the society for a very long time, and the unfortunate victim and their families, they are at the forefront. We wish that people who are in the seat of power in Pakistan, especially the law enforcement agencies, they listen to these complaints and come up with a succinct and a peaceful solution to this matter. So until next program, I say thank you very much. I'm Dr. Suhail Qureshi from our London studios, Quews.news.